Hey guys, and welcome to the Winnie Pooh themed topper class. This one is super fun, super exciting. I really loved how these came out. I wanted to do a different, I envisioned something different for these toppers. So I came up with this, and I haven't seen a topper like this Tigger. So if you see one, let me know, because I haven't. And I feel like, I made him, he's special. But, all right, you guys, so what we will need for this class is a roller, a ruler, if you feel like you're gonna need it, but I will give you most, if not all, the measurements, our fondant knife, a couple of different cutters, and I will tell you why, a piping tip with, it's a 2A Wilton, okay? This makes the perfect size holes for a lot of stuff that I need, so just keep that in mind. We're also going to be needing a lot of different tools. A razor, this is a pen blade, and then, so with all that, remember this is pre-recorded, so you can come back and figure out what it is that you need, jot down stuff, or any of that good stuff. All right, so these are the colors that we are going to be using. There's some purple, there's some blue, there's some dark pink, there's some orange, some black, some brown, some yellow, and this is more of an ivory, and some light pink. All right, so these are the colors that you are going to be using. As you see, yellow is the biggest color we have here because this is the one we're going to be using the most, because we're going to be creating the honeycomb, the Winnie the Pooh, and all that good stuff. So let's get started. If you guys don't have any questions before we start. All right, perfect. So first we are going to be cutting out 3 white toppers. You could cut these ahead of time. This is fondant with CMC, which is whittled dry, just like gum paste. So as you see, this is nice and hard. Let these sit out. And we're gonna place the bee topper on there, the beehive, sorry. So we're gonna be working on this awesome, really cool beehive. Remember, anything that I do little-wise, you can do big-wise too. So if you make it this small, remember, you can make it bigger as well. So this is really cool. You could also make this into a bigger topper and then use it as a cake topper, or maybe if you carve a cake into a cone shape and then put fondant around that, the way that I'm gonna show you, you can definitely use it that way as well. So the way that we got our beehive is we got some of our fondant. Remember, this has already CMC, sorry, into it. And what we're gonna do is separate our fondant, and we wanna get those nice, even, round ropes all the way around. So what we're gonna do first is roll out our fondant. You could use gum paste, but remember, I don't really like working with gum paste because it dries too fast, and then I have to go back and fix mistakes and so on and so forth. At least with the fondant and CMC and the Tylose, it gives you some leeway. So that's what I love about putting CMC or Tylose in there. All right, so once we got the length or the thickness that we want, you can make it as big as you want. That's the beauty of this. Just as long as it fits within the realm of the topper. If you're not doing a topper and you're doing it for something else, by all means, make it bigger. But we want to get a nice, even consistency rope of yellow fondant. And I would say this is about 1 centimeter thick right here. So we're gonna cut it. We're gonna cut it to length. We want a little bit of the white to show underneath. So go ahead and make sure you measure that. So we see you have a little bit of the white showing. All right, so then put a little bit of edible gum paste, or edible glue. So from there, we're gonna add some edible glue. Excuse me guys for 1 second as I go do something really quick. Sorry about that. All right, so I'm gonna put a little bit of the edible glue. And then we're gonna do the same thing, roll it out to 1 centimeter. But we're gonna go a little shorter. So we're just gonna go shorter. We're gonna do 4 layers of that, and then the top is gonna be like a button layer. So all we wanna do is measure. You can measure each layer if you want, but depending on the size that you're working with or what you wanna create, or if you're using a bigger topper, it will be different sizes. But the honeycomb is the easiest. As long as you stay within the realm of a circle and you're just building your way up, the honeycomb will look pretty excellent, you guys. I assure you. All right, but all of them are 1 centimeter thick. Just keep that in mind. All right. I'm pretty good at eyeballing this stuff. The measurement for this one, no problem. We got it. It is 2.5, a little under a half. So 2.5, a little under a half of 2 under inches. So, and then we're just connecting that one again. And we already put glue in there, so don't worry, we'll be fine. And then we're gonna do the last one. So that's 3. We're gonna do 1 more layer. That should be enough. Give me 1 second, you guys. I'm going to come back. Give me 1 second. All right, you guys, just making sure my cake doesn't burn in the oven. All right, so now we're just going to, I know, baking and teaching. See how easy that was? And then we created a honeycomb, look at that. So on the top, what we're gonna do is get a little piece of fondant, roll it into a ball. Make sure you put some of your edible glue. Push it in there. Make sure it's a little round, it's not pointy because the honeycomb itself is not a pointy top. All right, so now that we have our honeycomb, I love when it comes together, right? I know, I get so excited too. We're going to get our black fondant. And we're gonna roll out a little piece. And all we're gonna do is cut a little bit, and this is 1/2 inch right there. About 2 centimeters. This one right here is 2 centimeters. Cut about 1/3 off. Put it in between wherever you want to put it. Make sure you put the edible glue. I would suggest to put it from the 2nd tier and then go upwards. You can make it smaller, you can make the hole bigger, smaller, because this is essentially the hole that they come out of. So the bees come out of here. Okay, and then you just want to tuck it in. You can make this bigger or smaller. If you want to make it smaller, you can. Completely up to you. Now for the bees, you could do little yellow bees, but I felt like they really blended in with the honeycomb, so I made them a little darker yellow. So all you have to do is get a little bit of yellow, a little bit of brown. Gonna create that off-tone yellow, kind of like a beige of some sort, and then a little bit of brown. But if you have a pre-made color already, go ahead and use that. And this is just so that they stand out. You don't have to do it this way. You can do yellow on yellow. This is just so that the bees stand out, you guys, so. And then you could also use your edible markers and put streaks of black on them. So all you're doing is getting a ball, making it into a oval, sticking it somewhere. And then just getting a little bit of white. And just making little wings. But make sure you glue the wings on. Or you do this ahead of time, because you don't want them falling off. All I'm doing is pinching some fondant together and going to glue it on there. All right, that's all I'm doing. See? And there's your little bee. I know, it's so adorable. And then you could like drizzle mirror glaze or piping gel and make it look like honey. So super excited about that one. Love how that one came out. All right, guys, so we're gonna move on to Eeyore. Eeyore is pretty cool. I like Eeyore. So Eeyore is 2 inches. Remember why I love using 2-inch choppers. If this is your first time and you're new to my classes, I use a 2x2 because it's perfect and standard for most cupcakes. So most standard cupcakes, this is the perfect size. So 2x2, not only is it great for cupcakes, it's great for Oreos, it's great for Rice Krispie treats, it's great for placing on cakes as toppers. It's also great, the possibilities are endless, but 2x2 is perfect. And it's very versatile for me. Okay, so what we're gonna do is get some blue, roll it out. Remember, the thickness depends on you because, again, depending on how thick you do it, it's how long it's gonna take to dry. So we cut that out, and then we're gonna roll some more out, and we're gonna cut out another circle. Okay, and you'll see why in a bit. Cut that away. So what you want to do once you have your circle, give me one sec. Once you have your circle, you do want to do an indentation down the middle. Now you're not going to be seeing the indentation after you layer some stuff on there, but you just want to give yourself a guideline. So after you have that, get some ivory or a little more darker color than white. So pale, if you have pale, I think ivory works well. Skin tone, it's completely up to you. We're gonna cut out, yeah, exactly. We're gonna, yeah, good question though. So all we want to do is measure over Eeyore and see where the perfect place to put his snout is. I'm indenting it. Hope y'all can see that. I indented it. And I'm going to cut. But as you see, we're not going to put all of the fondant on there. We're literally just going over. Now you can get your 2-inch cutter again and overlap it and cut away. And there you go. So now you have your indentation and your, let's see, we're gonna go straight down again. And then we're gonna give them 2 creases right here. And then we're going to get our balling tool. And we're gonna go in and down for his nose. And then that we create as his nose. So for his eyes, make sure you're doing somewhat semi-long and droopy, because he's always sad. Ears always sad. And the best way I found out, if you don't have a very super mini plunger like this, is just to get your, this is 1 centimeter big, side to side. Cut that out. Get your white, cut it out. Oh, there we go. All right, cut that out. Cut that down the middle. And simply shape it. Shape it into place. Okay. All you're doing is getting the corner and rounding that out. And you're going to put it right kind of near the center, near his snout, because we got to make room for the hair and the ears. So we're just shaping it. Remember, you don't have to buy all those fancy tools and save your money. I'm showing you how to do it now. All right, so make sure you do glue at every step. Just simply shaping it. Now we're gonna get a little bit more of our blue right here. We are gonna cut 2 sides off, 1, 2. If one is smaller than the other, just simply stretch it out. And if one is bigger than the other, just simply cut it down. I know, so easy, right? Who would have thunk it to use our hands? All right, so now what we want to do is create the eyelids for Mr. Eeyore. And all I'm going to do is cut out another small hole. Alrighty. And then cut that in half. And if you want, you know, you can trim it down again, but all you have to do is overlap the eye like so. You can put a piece of fondant in there for his pupil, or you can do edible pen. Completely up to you. Now, like I said, you can cut this down to size for his eyes. Completely up to you. Or just tuck it in. I give you many, many ways to do these, you guys. In all my classes, I show you multiple ways to achieve the look you want. So with the ears, what we're gonna do is get a little piece of purple, roll it out, get a nice thin string going. Make sure the string is thin and not too thick. Just enough to cover the edge of the ears. Just overlapping the edge like so. Oh, sorry guys. We're just overlapping the edge like so. Pinching it at the end. Like that. And then we'll do that to the other ear too. Now we're overlapping it and kind of catty-cornering it. So it kind of looks like it's popping out, but it's really not. Sorry about the noise in the background. Yeah. Alright, so we got both the ears going. And now we're going to get some black to create the hair. And don't forget, the eyes do need to be a little separate. Sorry about that. Before we want to put the eyes, I should emphasize to give it some crease marks like Eeyore has, because he's all stitched up, drooping off to the sides of where the crease marks are. And droopy eye, droopy eye. And then we get the ears. And then we kind of straighten it out like that. From here to here. If you feel like it's too long, that's okay. Let his ear flap up like that. It gives him character. Same thing with over there. And the gap we're giving him is for him to have his hair in there. Excuse me. Don't forget the eyebrows and the eyes you can put in with edible marker. Don't forget about that. All we're doing is like a crown. So we're gonna give it 1, 2, and 3. Like that. Perfect. So we're just gonna squeeze the ears in a little bit more. You can push them down if you want. Also, with the eyebrows and the pupils, we're going to create with this fondant. Remember, you roll out the piece of fondant super, super thin, okay? Excuse me. He's looking awesome, I know, thank you. He has very small, but very noticeable ones. So just get your edible glue and stick them on where you feel they should be. More of a worried look, if anything. Let me make sure there's not a lot of glue on here. So you'd put them above the eyes. Yes, definitely. Always put glue in each one of these steps. So you can have a worried look. You can give him any kind of look you want to give him. All right, now we're going to move on to his pupils. He's got some long pupils, so if you want, go ahead and do like a half pupil. But it's completely up to you. I want you to be creative with your Eeyore. Yeah, Eeyore and Tigger are more in depth. I do agree. And there is our Eeyore, if he wants to stick. If you do have any questions about Eeyore, please, please, please let me know now before we move on. I know, these eyes. That's why I suggest you use an edible marker. But some people don't have edible markers, so. All right. I know, he looks awesome. Thank you. All right, so no questions on him? Oh, you're so sweet. All right. So now that we got that done, remember this is a pre-recorded version of the class. If you have any questions, just ask away. Send us an email or write it in the blog. All right, that was Eeyore, and now we're gonna move on to Tigger. Tigger is a fun one, you guys. So all that intricacy in his face, I know, adorable. So we're just gonna get some orange. We're gonna roll it out. And again, we're gonna use our 2-inch cutter. And if you guys have taken my class many, many times, you know why we do 2 inches. All right, 2-inch cut out. And then what we want to do is get some more orange. Okay, make sure it's the same thickness. And get our 2-centimeter cutter. Oh yes, sorry about that. Sun is coming out. As long as we work on this surface, we'll be fine. And if you can't, just let me know. All right, so we're gonna cut that in half, and then we're gonna cut that 1/3 of the way, and then we're gonna cut a little bit off right there. So those are gonna be our ears. I know, super easy, right? Any questions about how to cut that? Yeah, you can definitely watch the replay and catch that. Of course. All right, so now we're gonna get some yellow. This is the fun part. You're gonna see him start coming to life. So now that we got the bases of him, yes, and definitely always do edible glue. I'm not gonna touch the ears quite yet. Yeah, I would thin this out a little bit, but if you want it to be more popped out in the face, I would definitely do it a little thicker. We're gonna be using the 1.5 cutter right here, okay? So this is gonna go there, and then we're gonna do the same, but we're gonna cut this one, which is the 1-inch cutter. Excuse me. Give me 1 second so I can do something really quick. 1 second. Sorry, I have to keep checking in on stuff. All right. So that's the 1.5. So this one's a little smaller. And what we're gonna do with this is gonna be his snout. That's gonna go right there. And we're just cutting this portion off, this portion off, and then we're just gonna shape it, round it out so there's no sharp corners. Round it out, round it out. I would cut off a little bit more right there, and then just round it out like that, and then put that in place. Give it a line right there. And then give it a mouth indentation right there. And let's just make sure it's centered. And then with this one, we're gonna cut to create the eye face right there. All we're doing is just cutting off about 1/3 of the 1.5 cutter. And then we're gonna cut straight like that, and just to make sure he's, yep, measuring well. Perfect, perfect. Then we're gonna get some of our black. We still gotta create the indentations of the ears. Remember, these are gonna be right above the sides right there. All that is just a strip of yellow, sorry guys. A strip of yellow, but make sure it's the same size. Right, it would be the same size. Yeah, you can do that too. If you're watching the replay, she asked if she could just merge both colors and then cut them at the same time. Definitely, you can definitely do that. You can definitely do that. All right, now we're gonna get some of our black. See him coming together. I know, he's adorable. You can make his ears, you know, longer, shorter, whatever you feel like. To make his eyebrows, we're going to roll out some fondant. And everything that we're doing from now on, you can do with an edible marker. Yeah, definitely. So, depending on the thickness of the brows that you want, I say the same thickness as the yellow right there. And about 1 centimeter long. Just make sure you don't have like square edges, because it will look funky. Yeah. Just a little away from apart from each other, and there's that. You see him coming to life? I know. So now we're just gonna roll some more out, because we're gonna give him some whiskers. That sun is shining through. Sunny Arizona, you guys. All right, so all you wanna do is roll out some black fondant. then we're gonna create whiskers. We're gonna give him 3 whiskers on each side. So depending on how long you want to create your whiskers or how thick is going to be up to you. So 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to line them up. You can even pierce it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So we just pierce it, put some glue. This one, yeah, I do have the edible glue up on my YouTube. Thank you for asking. Right. Yeah, it's up to you. They can be longer, skinnier. You could draw them in. I just think the effect of the 3D whiskers just gives him so much more character. All right. Yeah, that's fine. You could do that too. All right, so now we're just gonna get some brown and give him a nose. We're just gonna roll it. And then we're just gonna squish it into a rectangle. Nice little button nose. There's his nose. I know, he's looking awesome. Now at this point, you could just put the eyes and call it a day. I would suggest you marker in his stripes because it is a little more difficult to do the stripes with fondant, but it's completely up to you. I like how the fondant strips come out and it looks like Tigger. So what I'm going to do is use my balling tool and just, there you go. It's this little guy getting stuck everywhere. This is what happens when you use super small pieces. Yeah. Of course. So just give him his eyes. I know, he looks like Tigger already, I know. See, that's what I meant. You can stop at that, but no, I want to add more detail. So this is why I said I wouldn't stick the ears so fast on there. All you're doing is cutting out very sharp little triangles right there, and you're putting them on the sides of his face. Right, yes, you can pen these in with your edible marker, correct. You're welcome. I gave him 3 stripes, but it's completely up to you how many stripes you want to give him. Yeah. But that's why it's so intricate, and we love Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. So I just go smaller and smaller from here on out. So there, that goes there. So that's gonna stay there. And then we'll do a smaller, chunkier one on top, right there, and cut that out. Right, yes, definitely glue these. They can be little sticklers if you're not using the pen way. Yeah, without his ears, he still looks like Tigger. You can do that. Alright, now that we got a Tigger on there, all his stripes and mighty, mighty spite, We're just gonna put the ears back on there, and then we got our lovely Tigger. I know, he's so awesome. Thank you. Now, do you guys have any questions on Tigger before we begin the next topper? Right. Yes, 2 inches. All right, no problem. All right, let's move on to our next one. And this is our honeycomb. So this one is pretty simple, you guys. All I did was shape a honeycomb. Oh, honeycomb, it's not a honeycomb. It's a honey pot. And that is edible marker, so that will be edible marker. This is a 1x1 ball. I am literally just shaping it into the size I feel like I need. I'm gonna point this and then push it, point. So we're basically just rounding it, pushing, pointing, so on and so forth. To kind of, yeah. Yes, that's, and that's basically the concept, a pot, but a 2D pot coming up. So we're gonna get some more brown, and we're gonna roll that into a little snake that we're gonna put right here. You don't want it to be too big. But you want it to be noticeable enough, and all I'm doing is just sizing it to see. Yeah, that's perfect. Now remember, this is going to be covered by the honey, so just keep that in mind. This has a little bit, the honey color that looks kind of gold, it has a little bit of brown in there mixed with a little bit of orange. So it's a different color than the other yellow we were using, and I'm just mixing a little bit of brown and a little bit of orange to get a nice golden honey look. You can also paint this if you want. It's completely up to you. So all I did was get this color, roll it out, and measure to see which size fluttered color, cutter is going to work on it. And this is the one that worked. This one is, just for measures, 1x1, okay? All I did was just pull this one out, pull this one out, pull this one out, pull this one out, like that. That's all I did. And then I got the pot, push that in there, flap in the back backwards. This went down, this went down. Okay. And then if you want these to be more prominent, all you have to do is indent them. You want that to flap out more, go for it, flap it out some more. Completely up to you. And then you just get pieces of the honey. This you can hide in the back if you don't want it out. See? How cool does that look? So we just get pieces, make a lot of teardrops, and as if the honey is falling out of the pot, put it on as if it was falling. We get some edible glue. Just little teardrop shapes. However you want to put them, it's completely up to you. Don't forget that you have to put the honey sign, which is a ivory or light brown sign. I've also seen some blue ones, but completely up to you. Just a strip, enough where you can write honey. And remember, one N is backwards. And there's your honey pot. It is sunny in Arizona and fondant is sticky. So there's your honey pot. These are perfect for any baby shower. I've seen so many Winnie the Pooh baby showers. And then just write honey, and then this goes on a disc as well. So there's that one. Any questions on that one? Okay, awesome. We're gonna move on to our piglet. And our piglet is on a topper as well. He's adorable. Reminds me of my little piglet. So what we're using here is light pink. We're gonna roll the light pink out. And then we are using the 1x1. We're gonna cut that out. And all we're doing is simply shaping his head into a teardrop. That's all we're doing. No fancy tools. Shaping it into a teardrop. Yeah, can you believe it? Oh, well, thank you. I try to make everything easy. And so you can save your money. All right. Now, I'm going to roll out some dark pink. Now, with the 1.5 cutter, we're going to cut that out. No, not shape it. We will shape it, but we're gonna cut it first. So we're gonna cut that in half. Sorry, out of camera view. Alrighty, and then we're gonna cut about 1/3 off. Or is that 1/4? That's about 1/4. I'm gonna 1/4 off. Okay, and all we're doing is we want to get that nice round look right here, right there, right? But we want it on this side too. So all we're doing is cutting, pinching, and shaping. See that? Did you miss that? Because we're gonna do it again. Yes. And his ears are bigger, so just keep that in mind. So we're basically cutting that much, and shaping. So one ear goes to the other side and the other goes to the other. And just cut a little bit more off. And again, it's however you want to shape him, it's however you want to do his ears. I feel like this one's a little bigger. It does come with practice, but once you have this class and you're educating yourself and you watch this and you're like, oh, okay, now I know how to do that and I could have done that a different way, right? So now we're just gonna get a little piece of pink and make that cute, cute little nose into a triangle. See? And then we're gonna put that towards the bottom. Make sure you keep that little triangle nose. And then we're just going to emphasize his mouth and then we're gonna emphasize his eyebrows and then his little cute wrinkles in his eyes. So we're just giving him some eyebrows. I brought the razor out so you guys can see the indentation. And then we're gonna give him some smile marks. Nice little smile. And then we do a little bit of black fondant, or you can do edible pen as well. So I'm gonna do a little bit of black, super small speck. His eyes are little, you guys. Don't forget him. His eyes are little. Yeah, he does have little beady eyes. So when you have the eyes on there, they're not too close to each other, so make sure they're apart. And then just indent those little wrinkles in his eyes. right? All right, any questions on Little Piglet? All right, sounds good. Let's move on to our last one. Winnie the Pooh. He's the cutest, right? And the most simplest. It's the detail, right? All right, so what we want to do is we want to cut out a yellow piece of 2 by 2. So I'm going to cut that out. Don't put the yellow quite away. We're also going to cut out the ears. And then we're going to cut out 2 more. And we're going to bring those together, roll those together, and that's going to create the hands. So we have a nice even round circle consistency for both hands. So we cut 2 of them out, and we're going to create a circle. Right. You can also do even circles like this for anything that you're doing. For like pearls or anything like that. Yeah, you can definitely do that. So we would put that there. And then with the ears, we just take a little snippet out. And then we'll put that to the sides. Yes, you can, however you want to do the ears, I'd push them down. Right. So now we're just going to get a little bit of our brown and thin it out because we're going to do some eyebrows. Make sure the eyebrows are thin. If you want, you can do the edible marker and just paint them in as soon as, but make sure it's dry because you might poke a hole in it if it's not dry. And make sure they are small little eyebrows. It's the details. Now you're gonna save the other one because we're gonna put it above his nose as well. Don't worry, they're not in the right place. Don't worry about that. So now we're gonna do the nose. It's a nice little triangle button nose. Yes, everything that I do, make sure you put the edible gum paste. Now the nose will be between the hands like so. Make sure it's an upside down triangle, but a fat upside down triangle. And then we're gonna put this above the nose, like so. Make sure that it is indented a little bit, so like a little arch above the nose. So if you need to. Like that. And then make sure you get your edible and the eyebrows are going to be somewhat close to the ears, to the side, like so. Kind of up where his forehead is at, correct? Then we're gonna get some more brown fondant. You see him coming to life? Isn't he adorable? And then we're gonna cut out the eyes. Now, the eyes are a little bit smaller. I do suggest you go with a smaller cutter than this, but if you don't have one, don't fret. All you have to do is cut that in half, and I showed you guys before. Shape it. Just shape it into a nice little oval. A nice little oval. And make sure it's on the side. Right. Yeah, it could be round if you choose to do it round. There's no wrong way. It just, you want it to look as close as possible to Winnie the Pooh. And more of an oval round look. Looks like Winnie the Pooh. Right. It does. Let me see if I can. Ah, and we're almost done. Come on, sticker. Oh, I know. Yeah, as long as you get the eyes a little smaller, you can create that baby Pooh. Oh my goodness, that sounded weird. You can create the smaller, you know, Winnie the Pooh. And that's why I say use a smaller one, or, you know, do it by hand. Winnie the Pooh. Oh, you love him? I love him too. He's adorable. All right, you guys, any questions on any of the toppers before we finish up? Remember, you can watch these classes. You can download it on your phone and have the replay for yourself. Any of the other classes as well. Any questions, you guys can ask me. And anything else. You guys are too sweet. Thank you. You guys have a good rest of the day. And again, any questions, just ask. I am a click away. You guys have a great rest of the day.